I think that was the time when the Queen got closest of all to her father. And to see him wasting away in front of her. And you wondered, was she aware, that even as she's losing her father and can see his mortality, what that means for her and how that's going to limit her own personal life?
He was really the only person from whom Princess Elizabeth could learn about how to reign, how far to go with the politicians, how to do the paperwork. He'd become a revered symbol of the British, reliable, constant, still in his mid-50s. For her, an anchor. And then the cable snapped.
George VI's death came on the 6th of February 1952, here at Sandringham, the private estate he loved so much. His daughter was then 25, she had 2 children of her own, but this sudden death pitched her straight into the public and private world of remorseless meetings and duties, which she's always taken with the same kind of dead straight seriousness that she learned from him.
She was considerably younger than you are now when she became Queen. Do you ever sort of reflect on what an extraordinary jump that must have been from a relatively private life suddenly thrust into that role at her age?
Yeah, definitely. And one of the things that's also really struck me when I sort of look back at it now was also in a very probably male-dominated age where it must have been extremely daunting to be put in that position. And that age, I still have trouble trying to be serious about certain things. So for her at that age, it must have been incredible having that burden and that responsibility placed on you.
She's shouldered the responsibility since then. One day, after his father, it will land on Prince William's shoulders. But what is the essence of that responsibility? What's the point of a constitutional monarch? What really is the job for? Well, first, the Queen is head of state, and the state is a political creation. One of the most important of the monarch's duties is something the Queen has done thousands of times, her weekly audiences with the British Prime Minister. These meetings mostly happen here in the deep privacy of the Queen's apartments at Buckingham Palace. The Queen's first Prime Minister was Winston Churchill, a titanic figure she found a great speaker.
The Queen can do no wrong.
He saw things in a very romantic and glittering way.
But perhaps a less good listener. Since then, she's had 11 British Prime Ministers alone, and at the heart of the relationship are those totally confidential conversations, compared by one official to a weekly meeting with a therapist.
I mean, certainly here one can't take it in, but there it must be even more traumatic, mustn't it?
It's simply 2 people sitting down talking in an entirely relaxed and informal way. But they cover everything. I mean, the Queen as head of state has a right to know what is happening, has a right to know what her Prime Minister has in mind to do.
I certainly found I could discuss anything with her in total confidence, and that included, by the way, all sorts of cabinet ructions and difficulties.
As the Queen has grown ever more experienced and grown older, and her Prime Ministers have grown younger, the balance has changed. Perhaps the most pivotal, important premiership of all was that of Margaret Thatcher.
Good evening, Your Majesty.
You've had a very long day.
It ran over just a little bit today.
But you started...
In 1986, the Sunday Times suggested the Queen thought Mrs Thatcher was uncaring and confrontational, that the Queen was a political infighter prepared to take on her Prime Minister.
This was over-briefing by an enthusiastic Buckingham Palace press officer. The Queen was fascinated and sometimes amused by Margaret Thatcher. Once, during a particularly stuffy diplomatic reception, when the Iron Lady felt faint for the 2nd year running, the Queen glanced over and said, "Oh, look, she's keeled over again." And the royal family isn't comfortable with too polarised politics. As the people at the top, they like the idea of the country holding together. However, the Queen always saw the point of Margaret Thatcher. She admired her guts, and she was intrigued by this self-made female leader. The evidence is generally that actually, on a personal level, they got on very well.
No, I think they did. I think they did. I think they each thought the other was slightly strange, but which indeed was true.
I am the 10th Prime Minister of Queen Elizabeth II's reign.
Prime Minister.
Tony Blair's New Labour presented a different problem, a vigorous government of self-proclaimed modernisers, which government insiders said had little instinctive feel for monarchy. Being in power changed that.
You know, the fact is, any Prime Minister ends up with unexpected events and happenings and crises, and you need to be able to come through those and handle them, and actually handle them psychologically as well as politically. And I often used to talk to her about the past, about previous Prime Ministers, what it was like, how they handled things, and she was, you know, she was prepared within the context of the audience to be very frank and open and informative, in fact.
And today, it's David Cameron's turn. We're recording this as it happens on Budget Day, and at a time when British pilots are flying over Libya. So there will be a great deal for the Prime Minister and the Queen to talk about once they get down to the meat of their conversation. What will she say to him? What will he reply? We will never know. And that is the point.
But here's a rare glimpse, though David Cameron's probably keeping his dynamite news or his best gossip for when the camera has gone.
I hope what you heard last night and what you heard in the House of Commons was broadly the same.
I think it was broadly the same.
It went well. I was sitting next to me. I think it went well. It was an hour long, but it was a lively House. I'd warm them up a bit beforehand with question time.
Oh, yes.
But then also on Mondays we had the great Libyan
I hear you had the Libyan thing.
That was, the House of Commons was an amazingly... probably the only meeting, apart from seeing Mrs. Cameron at the end of the day, it's about the only meeting where there's no one else in the room. And I feel the responsibility as Prime Minister to try and explain my perspective on the big issues going on in the world and the country that week.
Does it make you think?
So it makes me think, absolutely, because there's no one else in the room, because there are no minutes taken. I think you reveal both to her, but also to yourself, your deepest thinking and deepest worries about these issues, and sometimes that can really help you to reach the answers.
Well, that sounds quite sensible.
It was good. Full of warnings, mainly for me. It was very good. It was very good. And I sat in the chamber and listened, actually.
But does all this really matter? What's it for? Has it in any way changed the lives of the British?
The Prime Minister is the executive arm of the government, and the monarch has this extraordinarily important set of ceremonial duties. That means that the country, whatever it thinks of its politicians, can feel a great sense of ownership and unity around the institution of the royal family, and in particular Her Majesty the Queen. I think gives us not only all the advantages in terms of people wanting to come to Britain and engage with Britain, but gives us a huge advantage of stability.